Have you ever seen yourself like in a fun house mirror? You know, one of those like curved things where you kind of look at it and you look out of whack, right? Like there's parts of you that stick out, there's part of you that are like really like small and compressed, like it looks kind of ridiculous, right? I don't know if you've seen one of those things. But I think that's what happens when you start to compare yourself with others. What you actually get is we think that when we look at somebody else and we notice something that, we think they have and we're missing, or, something that is different, right? We think that now you actually now I have a real view into how things are. This is what I've been missing. This is what's wrong with me. And yet what we are actually seeing is the total opposite. What we're seeing is the complete distortion. It's complete distortion. It completely is out of whack. In fact, the more we start to compare ourselves to others, the more distorted it actually becomes. Because all of these things starts to stack up. And what we end up looking at is someone we don't even recognize. It's not even funny. It's not even sad. It's just wrong. So I think that where we want to get to when it comes to comparing ourselves to others. Because, I mean, it's easy to say, well, just don't do it. But we know the reality is that's not how things are. The reality is we always do this. And I think us who've been through things, we know what that's like. And the truth of the matter is we can't help ourselves. But we want to get back to the situation where we actually start to see the true state of things. We start to see you as a person that you really are deep on the inside. We start to see your truth. The fact is that you've been through some awful things in your life that may have been outside of your control. And yet you found your own way to keep going. You found your own way to cope with the struggles of daily life, with the weight of the past. You found ways to adapt and still strive to be a good person. How incredible is that? You're a beautiful human being, and you deserve to see yourself as you are, as someone who has been through the suffering, as someone who might be dealing with challenges today, but someone who is doing their absolute best to deal with life, to cope with things, to make things happen. You are the person who stood their ground. You are the person who keeps going. You are the one who's trying things. The fact that you're here with me just speaks volumes to your character, to wanting more from life. And I want to let you know that you deserve more. You deserve more from your life today. You deserve, when we get this inevitable comparison to others, to pull ourselves back from the distortion and see things as they truly are. And I'm going to walk you through what I think is like what is absolutely necessary, the steps that we need to do to see things in a true light. By the way, if you don't know me, my name is Joe Bakhmutsky. I've been through some awful things in my life, but I also have been through some beautiful things. And I choose today to be defined by hope and healing and opportunity. things, that we deserve opportunity to live just a happier life. That's why I started Power to Be Happy, to speak to that happiness that is at the core of what we all really want and why we're here, and why, I mean, I think that's the point of life, that we strive to be happy. Like, isn't that what it is? Even if we're dealing with, mental health, even when we're dealing with the past, even when we're dealing with challenges of today, we want to be happy. And that possibility is there, and it exists right now in our lives today. That's why I wrote this book, Finding Hope in Times of Uncertainty, a guide to thriving in the challenging world of today. And what could be a greater, capability for thriving than being able to see yourself as you truly are, and not a distorted version of yourself that we start to see when we look at that funhouse curve, the mirror, when we're comparing ourselves to others. Right? Because we notice all of a sudden, like, we magnify and we blow out of proportion things that might be wrong or might be, missing, or like we start to see things and give meaning to things that don't really even exist, or that are meaningless, or that are beyond your control, or that we see in a different light and not what they actually really represent. So let's talk to how do we actually stay true to yourself, not stay true to other people's expectations or other people's situations or how their life is, but what is actually true to you? How do we stay true to yourself? And I think staying true to yourself comes down to me for, four simple things that really add up to being true. And one is trust yourself. So often when you've been through awful things in your life, you start to just so much more doubt and second guess yourself. I remember when I've been through my kind of big breakup in my life, big breakup from a relationship. And, I still carried a lot of wounds of, going through rape as a child, and I didn't really feel safe. And so I couldn't really have sex, even with a woman that I, really wanted to and was attracted to. And, going to like dates or even inviting someone on a date or that was a scary experience for me, and confronting, experience for me, because I was petrified of what could go wrong. And when I looked at, like if I was before the date, I would be like, or on a date, I was like thinking, well, how is she going to see me? Like, did I say the right thing? Did I look ridiculous? What if she finds out? And my greatest fear actually was that what if my greatest fear was, this is what I guess a lot of people look forward to, right? My greatest fear was like, what if actually everything works out and we really click and we end up going home together, and then it turns out I can't have sex, because that happened. And that was a really difficult experience for me. As a man, it was really difficult. It was a real, a put down for me, a real blow to the confidence. So I was actually afraid of kind of possibly what might be a really great scenario, right, on a date, And I guess I just was constantly in a place of doubt. But over time, I started to realize that, if I approach everything from a place of fear, from a place of doubt, it's actually more likely to happen. And I thought, well, I don't really have control over how things are going to go. Will I be able to do this, or will I be able to feel that, or whatever, right? But I can just go and try to have fun. Just try to get to know this other person and try to just put expectations or questions or concerns aside and just try to be in the moment. I know that's such a hard thing to do for ourselves, and sometimes like it feels like almost a patronizing thing. So just be in the moment. I know it's hard, but at the same time, I think it involves more than anything. Being in the moment to me is trusting yourself, trusting that you can find a way, trusting yourself that you can figure this out. Because the true state of things as they are is you've done this 1,000,000 times. Yes, that's true, my friend. You have done this 1,000,000 times that you don't give yourself credit for. How many times have you made a myriad of choices? You made choices to do what's right for you, to do what's right for your values, to stick up for someone, to help someone, to listen to another person, to do what's right in your work, right? So many times you've done things that are true to your sense of self. So many times you've done things that were hard. So many times you've done things to protect yourself. So many times you have done things to protect others and make them feel safe. How many times you've made others feel understood? You deserve the world of credit, my friend. You're amazing. And I mean that. You are amazing. You've done incredible things, and you deserve to see yourself as you are and to trust yourself. You've done this before. You can do this again and again and again in situations that might be challenging or off-putting or unfamiliar. You can do this. You can figure this out. You can make things happen because you've done it before. Trust yourself. You can do this. So that's, in truth, T is, for me, means trusting yourself. But also, R, at the same time, is all about raising your hopes and ambitions. For too long, we look at life and we expect things to go wrong because we've experienced things going wrong. And as a result, like our hopes and dreams, they are just like, they're just, sometimes it's like getting through the day. Sometimes it's just, not having someone scream at you is a sign of a good relationship. Sometimes someone not humiliating you is a sign of good friendship. Sometimes having a job with somebody isn't forcing you to work incredibly long hours feels like a great and fulfilling job. And so as a result, we start to expect things to be difficult, and that pulls our expectations and our hopes and dreams and ambitions for ourselves so much lower. And again, that's not how things are. It's what we have experienced in the past. I know that. Like for so many years, like my work life was, just like, because I've had a couple of jobs where I was working for small companies, and it really wasn't a great experience for me. And, for so long, I was just like expecting that, just being able to, have a stable job was like, that was already a huge achievement. And I guess it was in a way, but over time I started to kind of question and go like, what if there is actually more to this experience? What if I could have a career that is actually fulfilling for me? What if I could do something that I felt like I was making a difference in a way that really aspires me to live a greater life and actually feel happy and feel like super creative and feel like I'm actually fulfilling some kind of a greater purpose. I know it sounds like, something kind of higher, but I never even thought about it like this until I started to allow myself to dream of what things could be like, of the possibility that something could be different, and opening the door to what might be a dream, to what might be a possibility, a deep longing, or that speaks to a deeper longing within you, or a desire that you have. Like that opens the possibility for us to raise our hopes, to raise our possibilities to actually where they should be, right? It's about like teaching ourselves that, it's okay to have dreams and hopes and ambitions and desires. It's okay to have them, and it's okay to have them higher. When I go back to my time being single, went from being broken, depressed, dealing with constant like overwhelming panic attacks and and horrible insecurities, but I didn't because I allowed myself to dream. I allowed myself to have that possibility of, what could life be like? My life, what would it be like if I had someone who really gets me? I had someone who I had like this incredible connection with. And that possibility, because I started dreaming of it, it became something that really moved my heart. And it allowed me to not just aim for, finding a relationship of someone who, tolerates me, and my quirks. But instead allowed me to seek, what? I want to find a person who will just be the love of my life. I want to find the love of my life, a person who I'm incredibly attracted to on every single level, physically, emotionally, socially, someone who believes in me, someone who doesn't see me as weird, someone who is just I feel this sense of connection and belonging with. Right? That was way beyond anything that I could even imagine at this point. But I'm so grateful that I allowed myself to dream and set the bar higher and raise my hopes and ambitions to where they should be. Not where they are, but where they should be. That is the true state of things. We should not be in a place where we're expecting, things to go wrong. We should be in a place where we expect things to make them right. Make them right. And that's a higher level of ambition. But that is what you deserve. That is the true state of things. Wanting things just to be okay, that is a distorted view. That is not how things should be for you, my friend. You should be striving for happiness. You should be striving for greater things in your life because that is what you deserve. That is the true state of things. So raise your hopes, your ambitions to live the life that you truly deserve. The you in true, for me, is unite people around you. And what I mean by that is so often in life, we go through challenges, dealing with the past, dealing with present worries and fears. And we go through that experience in a way that is very much on your own. We are afraid to share our hopes, our dreams. We're afraid to talk about things that, are holding us back. We're afraid of that because we're afraid of being judged. And we don't want to compare ourselves to others, and we don't want other people to compare you to them, and all of this stuff. Like, we are afraid that people will hurt us, minimize us, ignore us, make us feel small. And the reality is, because that's what we have experienced. Maybe that's something that has happened to you in the past. And maybe it's something that you've experienced a lot. And if that's the case, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that that's what you had to go through. But now is the time for us to turn things around. Now is the time for you to create your own community. And when I say community, I don't necessarily mean community of, a group of people who are always hanging out together and they're always connected, by kind of, shared purpose or something like that. Although that's great, like if you can do that. But I think sometimes like a community and that ability to unite people is just uniting people around you. People who are your supporters, people who are your champions, people who believe in you, who wish you the best, who like you, who get on with you. And if you don't feel like you have that community in your life, I think you can go and have it and you can create it. That's what I'm doing right now. I have a dream of creating a community of people who have been through trauma, but want to be defined by healing, by happiness, by living a greater life where they get to feel that they belong. And I want to serve that community through books, through speaking, through courses, and a part of it, like building this community, I know, is getting support from others, whether that's support where people actually help me, or whether support is where people encourage me and believe in me and go on. And the way that I'm doing that is by actually sharing this dream with other people. Like I get to reach out to people in different organizations, or reach out to tell this to my friends or to people that I meet. And I just constantly talk about this. Like I'm actually saying, this is my dream, this is what I want to do, this is what I aspire towards, this is what I'd love to make happen, right? I always talk about it. And because I talk about something that is important to me, that helps me get connection with people. And people go, wow, yeah, that's great. And I'm not saying that everyone goes on to believe me or becomes my kind of greatest supporter, but for some people, my story, what I aspire towards, that resonates with them. And they just believe in me or wish me well. And as a result, by doing this for, now a year, I have so many people around me who actually just believe in me. And that lifts me up. That makes things easier for me to go, oh, well, people believe in me. I have close friends. I have people I've just met. I have this circle of people who basically have nothing in common with each other. They don't even know that they exist. And some of one is my therapist. Some of the people I interviewed on my podcast. Someone I've met at this organization. And so it's all of this kind of a circle of people who are from different walks of life, but by the virtue of meeting with them, sharing my story in some way or another, and talking about what's important for me, I've been able to create a circle of people who believe in me. And that urges me to go on. That helps me feel like I can do things. I can make things happen. And that's what I want for you, my friend. It doesn't mean that you have to always make it around some ambition that you have, but I think it's important to go out and seek people who understand you, where you are able to share something that is personal to you in whatever way that is, whether it's something that, your creative pursuit or some part of your story that you wish to make a difference with, or just maybe it's based on a common interest, right? Like maybe you're into reading books, and by going out and finding people like a book club or a people who get together in a library to talk about some kind of a hobby or a passion, like that will allow you to be around people who get that interest of yours, get that hobby, get that passion, get where you can be around people and talk about what matters to you, and you can build that connection with people. Because ultimately, I think what stops us so often in life, when I look back on it, is so oftentimes because we've been hurt or we've been minimized, is we feel like that's the way things are. And that is, I believe, a distorted view. The way that I look at life today, based on my experience and so many others, people who've been through cancer, have been through child sexual abuse, who've been through all sorts of horrible things, is the reality is they can make incredible friendships, connections, and build communities and unite people around them, unite people around their story, around what they believe in, around their values. Because ultimately people are good. That's the true state of things. Unite people around you by sharing your truth, your passions, your interests. And that's what people want to know. People want to know the true you. People want to see you as you are, not some perfect person. Because none of us are perfect. People want to be around people who are genuine, authentic, and real. And that's what you are when you're sharing your truth, what you believe in, what drives you, what's fun for you, and what excites you, and what feels creative for you as well. Last but not least, the E in true is evaluate life. Evaluating life, my friend, is so vital. And when I say evaluate, I don't mean like you gotta rank your life in some weird way or compare yourself to somebody else in a way that is distorted and minimizes you or your life story of what you've been through. But it's seeing things as they are, seeing the true state of things, and being able to evaluate life on daily basis. I don't mean like look at your entire life and say, well, this is everything that's gone wrong or this is everything that's gone right. Like I'm just talking about situations that you go through each day. I'm taking like evaluating life. I'm talking about like simple things like evaluating how things have turned out. And but what I mean by that is like sometimes you might catch up with a friend or go to work or have a meeting with someone. And oftentimes we just like go through these things and we go through the motions. We don't take the time to reflect on things and see how did it turn out? Like how did it make you feel? Because there's so much beauty and insight to be gained by checking into your own experience. But being able to, when you had for example, a conversation with a friend, and maybe like you caught up together, you had a conversation on the phone or on Zoom or whatever, and when the conversation is finished, you go, oh, how did that make me feel? Was it fun? Did I enjoy this? And if it was a good time, like you could say, well, yeah, you know what? Makes me feel great. It really made me feel like this, person, actually, they supported me. They believe in me. It was actually fun. And you get to see kind of your own life reflected at you. Instead of letting it pass by, you kind of amplify the positive emotion. Or if it wasn't a positive emotion, like for example, you may have had a meeting at work or a situation that was frustrating to you, you go, why did it make me feel upset? Like, is there something that I can learn from this? Maybe this person was just acting in a way that they were dealing with something. Maybe they were also going through things, and maybe the way the situation happened has nothing to do with me. Like, what's the way that I can handle this now? Or is this something I need to worry about? Or is it something I can kind of put aside and go, you know what? Maybe this person is dealing with this, and I can just acknowledge that I was upset because it kind of set me off. But, maybe I can do something now that will make me feel better. Like this ability to evaluate the true state of things in your life is vital. Not to distort things, not to make things, be better than they are, but also not to pull them down to make them a lot worse than they are, but to see actually a true state of things. I think is an incredible gift. That's what I think clarity is all about, is seeing things as they are. And when you start to see more things as they are, when you start to make sense of events and situations, your own feelings, how you perceive things, your experience of life, that all of a sudden becomes something where you get to have a greater confidence. Because all of a sudden the view that you're seeing in the mirror is all of a sudden not as distorted as it was. And you start to see things smooth out. And that's true for when you start stacking these things up, when you start to trust yourself in key situations, that you can do this because you've done this before and you can figure this out. When you raise your hopes and ambitions to reflect the true state of things, of what you actually believe in and what really matters to you and your life. When you can unite your people around you by speaking to your truth, to what you believe in, to what matters to you, but also to evaluate your life, to checking in on how your day's been and going, what happened today? What made me feel good? What stood out in a positive way? What, even if it doesn't have to be some grand thing and you don't have to pump yourself up, but sometimes just seeing things as they are is vital. Sometimes even looking back on your day and going, you know what? I did my best today. Maybe I didn't get a lot of things done, but I tried to be a good person. I tried to do well over here. I tried to look after my health. I was being, a good person. I strive to do my best. I deserve to feel good about that. I think that's important. That's what makes us see things as they truly are. Seeing the true state of things and not the distorted things makes us go through life in a more compassionate way, where we find more kindness to yourself, to your own experience, to things that you've been. I constantly tell this to my coaching clients that go through my program Clarity First, where we talk about how do you gain skills in your life that are not only help us to survive and cope and deal through life, because sometimes you build that up when you've been through some awful things in your life, but we actually now need different skills, or elevate those skills, or transform those skills to help us actually thrive, to help us actually feel happier, to help us reach for those possibilities at a higher level, to raise those ambitions, to go after them, to stay on track, to check in with our progress. Because that is what life is about. Life is about more than survival. Survival is necessary and it's vital. And we've done incredible things to do that, but I think there is more. There is more for you, my friend. There is more for you in life. You deserve to raise your hopes higher. You deserve to trust yourself because you can do this. You deserve to unite people around you because you, at the core, you're an incredible person. And you deserve to have people who believe in you, support you, champion you. And you also want to evaluate life so you can see things as they truly are. Not as we'd love things to be, not as bad as sometimes as it seems, but as they truly are, because then you can give yourself the credit that you truly deserve. Then you can feel that gratitude for the life that you have, not the life that you could have had or the life that someone else wishes you had, but your own life, your truth. Believe in yourself. Trust in yourself. You can change. I believe in you. My name is Joe Bakhmutsky. Thank you for being here.